Little Bird pulled out a small bag. It deftly unzipped the zipper. 3 little snakes suddenly poked their heads out. The snake mom gently nudged 3 baby birds out with her tail. An unprecedented exchange began. Early this morning, naughty little pink bird took advantage of Dad's nap and quietly carried away 3 bird sisters. He kicked away the stone propping up the wooden plank. He placed his sisters on the floating plank. Then he started playing Save the Egg with Little Green and Little White, who knew the rules hadn't been settled yet when the wave swept the bird sisters away. To avoid being discovered by their parents, the 3 little birds paddled frantically after them on the plank. Little Pink stood at the bow, directing the way. Little Green and Little White paddled hard at the back.
Eggs away in our sights and we must go! Go! We'll get them back before our parents know! No!
With their synchronized paddling, they quickly caught up with the drifting bird sisters. Little Pink happily picked up his sister. Just as he was rejoicing that the mission was completed so smoothly, the surface of the sea suddenly churned violently. A giant whale burst out of the water. The waterspout blasted the bird sisters into the clouds. Little Pink Bird was extremely worried. Looking at the wailing Little Pink, Little Green, and Little White had a clever idea. They grabbed Little Pink's beak and started blowing air into it. Little White got tired from blowing. Little Green took over. Little Pink's body grew bigger and bigger. Eventually, he turned into a pink balloon. They used seaweed to tie off Little Pink's mouth. Riding the balloon, they began to rise into the air. The 3 little birds flew higher and higher. They were just about to reach their sisters in the clouds. They excitedly stretched out their wings, but they were always just a little bit out of reach.
Quick, listen out!
Little Green anxiously untied the seaweed knot. He discovered that the rope was tied in a dead knot. The balloon carried them higher and higher. The 3 little birds cried in fear. Unknowingly, they flew out of the atmosphere. They passed through the dazzling Milky Way, barely avoiding the meteor shower. Finally, they crashed into a man-made satellite. The seaweed rope happened to get caught on the antenna, accidentally releasing the valve. The reaction force of the deflation, combined with the rebound of the satellite's wings, pushed them back to Earth. The 3 little birds fell rapidly. The high temperature produced by the friction turned them into 3 fireballs. They almost crashed into their bird sisters, and finally landed in a coconut tree. Cooled by the seawater, then sent up into the blue sky, just passing through the clouds. A bird grabbed a little bird sister before they could even be happy. They fell heavily to the ground again. The little bird sister flew out again, rolling into the bushes. The little birds chased after them to see. A giant python was coiled there. The 3 little bird sisters were right above its head to save their sisters. The little birds mustered their courage and engaged in a fierce battle with the python. After a struggle, the 3 little birds walked out with their heads held high.
Well, that got dark.
The 3 little sisters finally returned safely to their warm nest. Suddenly, the eggshell cracked open, and a little snake crawled out, then a second and a third. The little birds were dumbfounded. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Looking through the peephole, the injured python mom was standing at the door. The little birds trembled with fear. The python mom continued to knock on the door with her cane. The little birds tremblingly opened the door. "Fane, who are you looking for?" "Ahem." "Oh, sorry." Under the python mom's gaze, the little birds nervously swallowed, slowly taking out the small bag from behind them, unzipping the zipper, releasing the little snakes, seeing her children. The python mom's eyes immediately softened. She gently pushed out the 3 bird babies. "Hi." "Oh, my little sisters." The python mom used her tail to unbuckle the seatbelts. The exchange ceremony was completed. The misunderstanding of taking the wrong eggs was finally resolved satisfactorily. After this thrilling incident, the little birds were determined to take good care of their sisters and never let them get lost again. But as soon as they said that, the sisters disappeared again. Looking up, they rode away.